Oh, there we are. We're here. We're ready for today's little mini piece called Next Now Equations. Full screen on you. So next equals now equations is one of the pieces in the KUDs that we want you to be able to write a simple next equals now equations. Probably not anything you've seen before. It's not that complicated. So let's get right to it. Okay, with the idea of a next now equation is that we want to be able to predict what the next number in the chain is. We want to be able to write an equation. So typically we're given some sort of a table of data, and we want to figure out, well, what's going on? How do I get the next number? So what we look at is the same thing we looked at with functions. So we look at, well, what's going on as we go from one number to the next number. In this case, looks like we're adding 3. Looks like we're still adding 3. Looks like we're still adding 3. Looks like we're still adding 3, and again, adding 3. So if I wanted to know what the next number was, what would I do? Yeah, I'd add 3. So the way we write this, we write out these equations is we write out that the next number equals the number that we have now plus 3. So that's what we're doing. We just take the number we have now, whatever. If it's 4, we add 3, we get 7. If it's 7, we add 3, we get 10. If it's 10, we add 3, we get 13. So forth and so on and so forth and so on. What we also need to know is, well, where's this little chain start? And so we always have a start at, and the start at is 4. Okay? Start at goes with the 0 value. Okay? Next equals now plus 3, starting at 4. What are we doing? We're just adding 3 every time. We write the equation. How do we get the next number? Take the number I have now, add 3 to it. Is that right? Let's try another one. Okay, what's happening here? Next equals now, let's see, well, what's the pattern? How do I get from negative 3 up to 2? Add 5. Add 5. Add 5. So forth and so on. So my pattern is that the next number equals the number I have now plus 5. And we start at negative 3. Okay? Didn't hear anybody say not okay, so we'll move right on. Here, how are we getting from the next number? This time we're subtracting 3. Subtracting 3. Subtracting 3. And so my next number is the number that I have now, minus 3. Where do I start? I start at 16. Okay? How do I get the next number if I've got the number now? I just look for the pattern in the table. And by the way, what kind of function are all these ones that we've been talking about so far where I've got that consistent adder? Write that down right here. So let's see. Oops, right there. These are all fill in the circle. Okay? Thanks. Now, this one. What's the pattern? What's the pattern? You want to always mentally just make sure that there's not some sort of tricky thing going on where it's a step function or something else. So next, start right now there. Next equals now plus 5. Now here's the thing that's a little catchy on this one. I'm going to stop at start at. Okay, notice that my start at, I started this table at 1. I always try to go back to the 0th value. So in other words, to get to the one that was before this one, I would need to subtract 5 to get back there. Okay, see how it makes the jump. 1 plus 5 is 6. So we always go back to that 0 value. Now, don't start at the first value in the table. We like to start with that 0 value. So in this case, we're starting at 1. Okay, so if a table doesn't start at 0, work your way backwards to get to that place where it's a 0 value. Okay, so next equals now. Let me read what this actually says. I don't know what that does. I don't know if that made any difference, but maybe it'll get rid of that thing coming up every time. We'll see. I doubt it. All right, so now, still makes my pen go away. All right, so now we're looking at this next list, okay? So if I look at this one real quick, it's adding 3, oops, then it's adding 6, oops, then it's adding 12, so there's got to be some other pattern that we're looking for. Okay? In this case, I can get from here to here, multiplying by 2. From here to here, multiplying by 2. I might be onto something. There could be a pattern. Multiply by 2. multiply by 2. And finally, yes, multiply by 2. So if I wanted the next number, what would I do? I take the number I have now, and I would probably multiply it by 2. So we just write it out. The next number equals the number that I have now times 2. And where are we starting? We're starting at 3. Okay, go back to that 0th value, start at 3. X equals now times 2, starting at 3. Alright. Oh, by the way, let's see. So this one isn't linear anymore, right? What type of function is this one? Fill in the circle. Okay? Yeah, this is a blah, blah, blah function. Okay? Just so we know that we're making connections. We're looking at graphs and tables and equations. We can figure out what's going on with each particular one. Alright, so now, this one looks like another one of those things where it's not going the same way. So what are we doing to get from 270 down to 90? Okay, we're subtracting some number, but that doesn't work as we go through. So you probably might say, ooh, it looks like we're dividing by 3. Looks like we're dividing by 3. Looks like we're dividing by 3. Okay? That's true, but it's not the way we want to look at it. So instead of dividing by 3, that's the same thing as multiplying by 1/3. Okay, dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by the fractional form of that thing. So really what we're doing in each case here is we're multiplying by 1/3. Okay, my next now equations don't ever use division. We can use addition, subtraction, and multiplication, but we don't use division at all on any of them. So if I'm rewriting this equation, I have next equals now times 1/3, starting at 270. Okay, next equals now times 1/3. And since we're doing that multiplication to get from the same step, it's the same sort of function as that one is. Okay. And again, if you look at the KUDs, there's only 2 types of functions that we want you to write next now equations for. So that probably would help you figure out what goes in those 2 circles as we go. And like I say, it's not, you just got to figure out the pattern. Okay, once you figure out the pattern, you can write the equation. Once you write the equation, you can put a box around it and be happy. So next equals now, and then we have either plus or minus or multiply. Those are some number. We don't know. And we always do is start at some other number. All right? So next equals now equations. Piece of cake. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it makes sense. If it doesn't, you should ask some questions. Okay? So thanks for watching. 8 minutes. You made up for that 15, 17-minute one this time. So thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.